Woke One Sincerely, since day one, has a question. Neptune retrograde in 12th house and Venus retrograde in 8th house as an Aquarius rising. So Neptune is the planet of dreams and illusion in astrology. If you want to see what is the height of the dreams that you'll ever achieve in this world, you want to go to your Neptune placement. Not just the zodiac sign that's there, but also the aspects associated with that sign. So are you saying that you were born during a Neptune retrograde? So you have to tell me what you mean by that. But generally having Neptune in 12th house means that it's going to be okay, I see. So it's a little bit challenging for you to make your dreams come true in this life. Can you tell me a little bit about what your dreams are, like in terms of like your aspirations? I don't need to know everything because, I know everyone has the right to their privacy, but what are you working on in terms of your manifestation? Oh, Neptune and Sagittarius. Okay, so what have you been working on? Humanitarian and spirituality. Okay. Yeah, how did you come to that? Was there a life event that brought you to this journey? Because generally having Neptune in the 12th house means that your dreams are going to be difficult to access. Yes, I figured there would be. Something had to break. Something had to break for you to get reoriented. A spiritual awakening. Yes, that's what I predicted. That's why I asked. So having Neptune in your 12th house, and by the way, the reason I knew that, for those of you who are learning about astrology, I need you to know that the 12th house in astrology is the house of dreams. It's the house that is ruled by Pisces. Pisces is the only one that rules our dreams in astrology. So when you happen to have Neptune in the house of Pisces, you're deeply rooted in those dreams, but in the hidden sense, because the 12th house is the house that is hidden. It means you have to work harder to get to it, to uncover it, to find it, to make peace with it. You have, your dreams in your 12th house, in the house of dreams, yes, but in the 12th house, it means nothing comes easy. You're going to have to work twice as hard as everybody else. You're going to have to put in a lot of time and energy for you to see your harvest. A lot of people may have the dreams that you have and they could get started today and they could get a harvest next year or the year after. For you, the harvest doesn't come easily because a lot of the work that you need to do to manifest your dreams it's within. And because it's in Sagittarius, it requires that you be willing to part ways with the religion that you grew up with. What religion did you grow up with? Or did you grow up with any religion or spirituality? Well, thank you for following me, Othaniel, Hector. I appreciate it. You grew up Christian. Okay, so what is your relationship to Christianity now? Yes, you left 10 years ago. Very good. I'm glad you did that. That was necessary for your elevation. So what is your relationship to spirituality now that you left the Christian faith? What have you been doing to help with your spirituality, to keep your connection to divinity? And thank you, Scorpio56, for liking the live. Thanks to everybody who's liking the live. I appreciate you. Meditation. Very good. So have you gotten into like Eastern philosophies? Have you studied other modalities? Tell me about that. Hi, Janusa. Hi, Anatoly Burdak. Thanks for joining. Yes. Okay, very good. So when you have your Neptune or Sagittarius, it requires that you be, what's a good way to put it? That you be single. That you be singularly minded. That you be unattached to organizations when it comes to what takes you into your abundance. You can't be too married to anything because Sagittarius is the freedom representative of the zodiac. That's the best way to do it, to say it. Sagittarius is the explorer of the zodiac. Sagittarius is a wild horse. They run free on their own terms. They do their own thing. There are hodgepodge of things. They're a collective mixture of things. Sagittarius is all about incorporating different things together under one umbrella, and that is what makes them magical. It's their ability to relate to everyone, because Sagittarius is a global zodiac sign. They're here to connect with the world, okay? That's why Jupiter, the ruling planet, is the largest planet in our solar system, because the Sagittarius is here to expand, to blow up, to stretch, to make things bigger, to make things relatable. So as a Sagittarius Neptune, your dreams become manifested the more of an open mind you have, the more of a desire to learn about the world you have. Like the greater that desire, the more you align yourself with your dreams. So when a Sagittarius has a small mind and they're not curious about the world around them, and they take no interest, no desire into how other people live and how other people think, the language that other people speak, the food other people eat, they cannot manifest because they're in a cage. The horse is supposed to be out of the barn, being free, living life. So the more you free yourself from the entrapment of organization, small-mindedness, control, which is really what this is about, it's about mind control. So the more you free yourself from mind control and you choose to control yourself by choosing what works for you and what doesn't work for you, the more in alignment you bring yourself. So that's very good. You said your North Node is in the 5th house, so this is so true. Well, thank you for confirming that what I'm sharing with you resonates and that is true for you. So as far as your dreams, it sounds like you're already on the right path. Like you're doing all the right things by opening up your mind, learning about different things. And here's the thing with Sagittarius and Gemini, and this is where both these signs get tripped up. It's okay to change your mind. If you're Sagittarius and Gemini, I'm not sure if no one has ever said this to you, but it is okay to change your mind. You don't have to villainize yourself in order to give yourself permission to change your mind. You don't have to self-sabotage to give yourself permission to change your mind. It's okay to try something and it works for you, and then it doesn't work for you anymore and you let it go and you move on to another thing. These signs they're the knowledge bearer of the zodiac. You know, for Sagittarius, it's higher learning. For Gemini, it's lower learning. And when I say higher and lower, I don't mean that one is better than the other. I mean, one is about consciousness, spiritual awareness, mindfulness of our human connection. Religion, spirituality falls under that umbrella. So it's really like a higher way of understanding our experience and interpreting the human experience. And for Gemini, it's more of like the factual, because for Sagittarius, there is a detachment from reality that comes along with that placement. In order for Sagittarius to remain their brilliance, they have to disconnect emotionally from the day-to-day. So their perceptive is a little bit more removed. It's here looking down, and that's what makes them so funny, because they can observe like the silliness of life, because life is really silly. Like when you're willing to take a step back, there's a lot of silliness to it for all of us. Woke one said, yes, I back up my briefs with facts. Yes, you got it. So Sagittarius has a spiritual awareness of the truth of life, and then they find the facts to support it. Gemini only works with the facts, and Gemini is very rooted and grounded in the facts. They don't have this spiritual morality component of the conversation yet. That comes at the older stage of Sagittarius. And for Sagittarius, it's all about the morality aspects of the conversation, but they're removed from the physical, tangible aspects of the conversation. So for these two, once they lock into a truth that is accurate for them, they can become very rigid, which is an aspect of their shadow that I'm not sure many of them are aware of. And it's something that I, as a Sagittarius sun, I'm aware of about myself. And that's why I'm very open to critique, because I love being able to self-reflect. It's something that brings me a lot of joy and depth. But I know not everyone thinks that way. But if you're one of these two signs, I need you to know that your rigid mindset can sometimes be problematic in your path to manifestation, because sometimes when things no longer work for you, like in the case of Gemini, they have to like create a huge dramatic moment to make that change when they could just as quietly make that change. And in the case of Sagittarius, they can be so loyal to something that even when they later find facts that contradict the truth of that thing, their loyalty to that mindset, to that belief system trumps that they will keep with it, even though the facts of the matter no longer align with that truth. So if there's anything you take from this conversation, change your mind as frequently as you can. It's okay if other people cannot keep up with you. They're not supposed to. The two of you are always going to be ahead of the curve with understanding what's happening in the world, with what's happening with an analysis of a situation. Embrace that. So it's okay to feel like a fish out of water with that. And you don't need to self-destruct in order for you to materialize in your dream. You simply have to decide like, hey, this was good for me then. It no longer works for me now. Now I'm moving on to this next thing, because this next thing aligns more with who I am today. And if tomorrow this next thing no longer aligns, it's okay again to go, okay, this is no longer working for me, because you two are constantly updating your files with data. You know, you two are the data processing, not in terms of like the mechanics, that's more Virgo, but I mean in terms of information. You two receive the most information from the universe, and you're supposed to use it to elevate. And the problem starts when you get the information, but you don't use it, or you get it and you use it in a way that is not helpful. Woke One said, "Oh my God, so true. I often feel alone." Yes, that is the that is the side effect of embracing your gift. It comes with loneliness, and it's okay. It's okay. You know, being alone and being lonely are not like a permanent state of being. It's a vibration that you tap into. You know, what Sagittarius is here to learn ultimately is that the journey itself is the reward. You know, the journey of discovery is the reward. That's number one. And change is great. It actually makes you better. That's number two. And it's okay if other people don't get it. Not everybody's supposed to get everything. You know, your calling, your life's mission, your dreams are for you. They're not for everyone. You know what they are because the universe gave them to you. Your job is to stay true to them. And it's okay if other people don't connect with it, you know, because they're for you. They're not for others. The way that you go about doing it is for you. And the people that are for you will come to you, and the ones that aren't won't. And it's okay. So that's really the main thing for Sagittarius. And also the other thing is, you know, oftentimes Sagittarius will go out in the world seeking something that they already have at home. You know, I think about like, what is that movie? I'm blanking on it, but it's such an obvious movie name, and with the red shoes and the yellow road, the yellow brick road. What is it called? What's the name of the movie? You guys can tell me. What is it called? I'm having a Lupus Fog moment right now. Yellow brick road, red shoes. It's an oldie, but a goodie. You know, you have like Wizard of Oz. Thank you so much, Yoli. Wizard of Oz. Yes, that's the name of the movie. So you get at the end of the Wizard of Oz, and what did we learn? What did we learn? We learned that all the things that we went on this adventure looking for, they were already right here in our backyard. So Sagittarius often thinks that physically going on the journey is where they find the wisdom they're seeking. But the higher learning, when they're evolved, is found in the physical realm, meaning that they're able to connect what's happening in the physical realm with the spiritual realm in their current existence. You know, both Sagittarius and Gemini struggle with FOMO, and for those of you who are not familiar, it's fear of missing out. So these two are constantly restless, looking after the next thing, wanting the next thing, chasing after the next thing. They feel like they're not doing enough, they're not working enough, they're not moving enough. So they're constantly doing this thing, like of always chasing after the next thing so they can get to it. And what they're here to learn is that sometimes the next thing is within. It's here. Like, you don't need to physically migrate to this other part of the world to have this epiphany that you're seeking, which is going to revolutionize your entire existence. Sometimes it's just in the mundane. It's in the day-to-day. It's in finding meaning and purpose in the day-to-day. That is what it's about. But oftentimes when they're unevolved, you know, both those signs will rip themselves of any safety, comfort. You know, they will make swift decisions to completely turn their lives upside down in the pursuit of the other thing, which is on the yellow brick road all the way out there, only to find out that their backyard already had all of that goodness that we're looking for. And now that we've had this conversation, I would encourage you to go watch The Wizard of Oz again through those lenses, because there's so many spiritual lessons in that movie. So yes, that's that. I believe actually the actress who plays, you know what? I'm having an astrology moment right now. So I think the actress who plays the Wizard of Oz in that movie has an interesting Neptune placement. Let me confirm that. I think she has an interesting Neptune placement that goes along with what we're discussing. So let me see. Judy Garland, natal chart, because I remember noticing that and that stood out to me. So let's see if my suspicions are correct. Okay, she has her Neptune in Leo, so she was bound to be a star. Let's see if I can see what's in her 12th house. She has her Neptune in Leo with the Aries placement, by the way, for those of you who are curious. Yes, Judy Garland has her Neptune in Leo. People who have Neptune in Leo are born to be seen. They're going to be a star wherever you put them. Put them in Alaska. You know, put them in West Virginia. It doesn't matter where you put them. They're going to get plugged out from that place and they're going to be in the limelight. Because Neptune, wherever you have Leo, is where you won't be able to hide. It's the part of your life that you cannot hide. That's what Leo means. Leo means what cannot be hidden because it's ruled by the sun. So having your Neptune in Leo means you won't be able to hide. And having your Neptune in Sagittarius, in the case of woke one, it means the way that you think about life, your ideology, your philosophy, you're here to kind of crystallize that for yourself. Now, what is her, I want to see her houses because there's something, let me charge this. She has Gemini in her 12th house. So back to Sagittarius and Gemini, I remembered that she had this association. Okay, let me charge that. Bear with me. So both Sagittarius in 12th house and Gemini 12th house have similar journeys, similar paths. They're both here to learn similar things, and it's usually the opposite of what comes naturally to the other. So Judy Garland was, here to learn to use her voice and to speak up and to be herself and to live her life according to her desires, regardless of what other people think. And she also has a Gemini sun. So having your Gemini at your sun and Gemini at your 12th house means it's going to be even harder for you to accomplish your life's purpose, because usually your 12th house indicates the energy that you're most comfortable with, the one that you have mastered over previous lives. So usually when that shows up also at your rising, it means that you haven't worked it in the positive. So you have to work it in the positive. And you may have noticed that she also has a Sagittarius moon. So she had the sister signs at the top. So that balance was missing. That's why she came back, that balance between Sagittarius and Gemini. Because it's not enough to have information. Sagittarius, what sets them apart from Gemini is that they're supposed to use information wisely. Sagittarius is the older version of Gemini, so there is a responsibility upon them to use information wisely. Sagittarius is a sign of wisdom in astrology. They are the very last sign before we get into karma, okay? Like, for the karma of Scorpio is more to break you so you can heal. And then Sagittarius heals via humor. That's why Sagittarius takes nothing seriously. Like, as a Sagittarius myself, I'll laugh at anything. Like, I can find humor in anything. We're not uptight. We don't take much seriously. We think life is ridiculous. So what's the big deal? Like the thing that you're getting bent out of shape about right now, in about 6 months won't even matter. So what's the point? Why give yourself a heart attack over something silly? You know what I mean? So Sagittarius and Gemini are kind of like this way, like very childlike in the way they deal with life, because it's not that serious. It's never that serious to Sagittarius and Gemini, ever. Like, do they understand that life is serious in the sense that you have responsibilities? Yes. Like, we understand that. But as far as like our fundamental attitude about like life's trials and tribulations, and it's all a bit comical because all of it is just ridiculous. You know what I mean? So when you come with this energy both at your 12th house, which is previous lives, and at your rising, which is where you're supposed to be headed, it means you struggle to find balance between having the knowledge and being wise with the information. You have to be wise with the information. It's not enough to have it. Gemini can just get away with just having it. But Sagittarius has an added responsibility of having it, being wise with it, and then sharing it in a way that is productive. It's not just about being the smartest person in the room. In fact, I would argue being the smartest person in the room requires being able to know when to keep your mouth shut, which is something Sagittarius would have learned as Scorpio. So the path of Sagittarius requires more maturity than that of Gemini, because other people can tell you things, but if what they're telling you doesn't work for you, then is it true for you? And that's really what it's about. You can have the information, but it has to ring true for you. And that loyalty and that devotion to that information comes from it being true for you. So when it doesn't ring true for you, it's no longer true. That's the message. It may be true for others, but it's no longer true for you. And your job is to honor that, to honor what's true for you. Because your karma is for you, your life journey is for you, the good and the bad that you accumulate is for you. So using other people's ruler to measure your story, you're already working in the deficit because you're disconnected from reality. And a Sagittarius that is balanced has the kind of like physical rigidity of Gemini. Gemini only deals with reality. These are the facts of the matter. If you want to find an excellent investigator, nobody tops Gemini. Like Scorpio just knows things intuitively and then they follow their hunch to discover more. But Gemini just sticks to the facts and they find the data to back up the facts. Gemini is extremely brilliant mentally because of this ability to stick to the facts. Sagittarius struggles more with sticking with the facts. It's because they're supposed to have that higher consciousness of understanding that there is this gap between the physical and the non-tangible world. And Sagittarius functions more over here in this dark energy, the non-tangible. But when both these people are healthy, they can do both. You know, a Gemini that is healthy also knows what information to not share for the sake of keeping harmony and peace in relationship. Same with a Sagittarius. But when these two are not healthy, they share all information all the time. Like they have no filter about anything. When the key is, thank you so much, Scorpio 56, for my gift. When the key is to really know when do I need to have a filter and when do I not. And these two, that's their challenge in this life. Because that is going to contribute greatly to their success in this world. Sometimes being smart is being the most uninformed, or at least presenting as the most uninformed. Sometimes being smart is managing the egos in the room. Like, sometimes you're going to be in rooms with people who have egos that are bigger than yours. And you have to collaborate with them. You saying things that make those people feel small in that moment, even though that's not your intent, is not going to make those people want to work with you. It's not going to put those people at ease. You know, I understand there are going to be times when you have to make people uncomfortable for the sake of doing the right thing. That's just a part of life. But by and large, these two, you know, when they're unevolved, they share information just for the sake of like being right. And sometimes being right is being quiet. Someone said I have a 10th house Sag stellium with MC there, and yes. Yes. Sometimes being right is being quiet. Because it's okay if it works for you and it doesn't work for them. You don't need to get into the battles of facts with people. Because the fact of the matter is everybody's functioning in their own reality. Yes, we're all here, but we all have different realities. I'll give you an example. When you grow up in the family with several siblings, if you're not an only child, you know what I'm talking about. Siblings will sit around and talk about how they were raised by their parents, and they all have different experiences. Yes, discernment, exactly. That's what's missing from the Gemini Sagittarius axis. It's the gift of discernment with the information. Yes, the information is true. Yes, the information is accurate. But who needs to know this information? That's the next step. And what's the impact of this information being shared? That's the next step. For many of them, that next step is missing. Because to them, it's about, this is the truth. Because they really value truth. This is the truth. And yes, it could very well be the truth. But if this truth at this specific juncture in our evolution, in our relationship, in our partnership, is not going to make things better, if it's not going to improve things, then what is its purpose? Except to be the one to raise our hand and said, I had this truth. Okay? And then what? Any Sagittarius and Gemini Sun, Moon, or Rising on this live? I want to know what you guys are taking from this. These are things that I'm still working on myself. So I hope I'm not coming across as if I have it all figured out. Because I don't. You will get the truth. But some truths are for you. And some truths are for everyone. Or others, if you will. This is what Scorpio has mastered as a Scorpio. And coming after Sagittarius, coming after Scorpio, is expected to use the wisdom they learn from going through Scorpio to navigate the world. And, you know, when it comes to our karma comes from us not utilizing the information that we have, you know. Someone said, I'm a Sagittarius Sun. We never have it all figured out. Any changes for me? Exactly. So that level of detachment is required for Sagittarius. And that's really the lesson about the truth. You know, this conversation about the truth. It's the truth for now. It's the truth for today, for this moment. But guess what? 5 minutes from now, something can happen that completely changes that truth to something else. And the wisdom of Sagittarius is to have this lackadaisical attitude about life so that when something happens that changes that truth, they go, whoa, and that's some shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's literally Sagittarius' attitude. And that's some shit. That's like the theme of our lives, you know? And you're supposed to go, okay, well, now this is no longer the truth. It's another truth. So a Sagittarius that is evolved is never married to the truth. They're never married to it. And that's why you cannot get your ego too involved with the truth. It also has to be about what is for the betterment of society, what is for the betterment of the world. Because some truths, when exposed, harm people more than they help. And as a Sagittarius, especially a Neptune, you know, inability to mitigate what truths are for my chest and what truths are for everybody's ears is that's a huge aspect of your manifestation. If you're not able to navigate you know, this sensitivity of like, yes, that's your truth in this moment, but keep in mind it may not be their truth and they may not want to hear it. And it may actually upset them to hear it. Like that lack of awareness about all the ramifications of that truth is really the struggle for Sagittarius. We have to, as a people, as a community, as Sagittarians, we all have to work on that. We're here to speak the truth, right? We're here to speak the truth, but we have to be mindful about when and how we do it. When we speak the truth, the world resonates with that truth because they know how we are. We're not into sugarcoating a lot of things. So if we're saying something, it's because it's really that thing as we understand it now. But when that thing changes tomorrow, we have to be brave enough to go back and say, you know what? No. Like as an example, I used to be a fierce defender of Kanye West. I was. Even like after all the antics, because of my background as a mental health professional, I have a lot of sensitivity for people that are struggling with mental health issues. So fierce defender of Kanye West. Yes, even after all the horrible things he's done, because I'm like, you know what? He's still going through some things. Like he's hurting. When people are not mentally stable and they're hurting, I can't use the barometer that I would use for somebody that's not hurting to explain what's going on. But now with his latest antics of like talking about children with a disability, I'm never going to speak about that man again. Like whatever he's going through, that's between him and his God. Like I'm staying out of it. I'm not defending anything else that he does or says. I'm good. That's my truth. Do you see that? Things have shifted for me energetically with him, and I've disconnected myself. When people left him hanging, I was still holding on because I still had compassion for him. But now I can see he's entered a space where I can no longer have compassion because the harm is too great. The harm is too great. And I can't align myself with that energy. And it's not that I was aligning myself before. It's merely that I felt compassion for him. Because I could tell that losing his mother broke him. I could tell. I mean, when his mother was alive, she wrote a book about him. This is way before he became like super famous. I bought that book and I read it. Because I could feel the energy between her and him. It was something I'd never seen before. Between a mother and her son. And I was very like in awe of that. And I wanted to learn more about it. So when she passed, I knew that was going to devastate him like beyond a level. Thank you so much, Scorpio 56, for my goal, for helping me to achieve my goal. I appreciate it. I knew that was going to devastate him beyond what I could understand because I didn't have that kind of connection with my mother growing up. So I knew I was watching something magical. So when that got taken away from him, I expected him to lose it in every sense of the term. So I was still writing for him, even though I could see that what he was doing was wrong. But at this point, I feel like we've entered into a space where I can't do that anymore. Like in good conscience, I can't do it. So that's my new truth. My new truth is it's going to take God himself to rescue Kanye from whatever is going on. Do I wish him harm? No. My feelings about him overcoming are the same. We all hurt. We all struggle. And I want to see everybody overcome their challenges. But I know right now he's on a path that isn't healthy and good. And this is like the darkest path he's ever been on. And I can't be with it anymore. And Kanye is a Gemini, by the way, which is a sister sign of Sagittarius. So as a Sagittarius, I've always had a great deal of empathy for him. Okay? So I say all of that to say, things change. When you get new information about things, you're supposed to update your system. It's like your phone, right? You get a system update on your phone. It's the same thing. This life is not supposed to be, we have the same day every day. The universe takes us through things so we can have a new awareness, a new understanding. And when you have that new understanding, you make that change. And you evolve from there. It's like you get the test, you learn the lesson, you evolve. Test, lesson, evolve. Test, lesson, evolve. Those of us that refuse to learn the lesson, we keep having the same life where it's test, 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 test. And we're not getting it. We're not getting the rhythm. We're not understanding what's happening. And then we're stuck. We feel stuck. We feel miserable. We feel unhappy. And we keep going around in circles. Living the same life every day, meeting the same people every day, having the same experiences because we're not learning lessons. And for Sagittarius and Gemini, the lesson is about letting go of truths, updating truths, adding an extras to that truth, making it more honest for you. Honesty is huge for these two. Without honesty, they cannot manifest at all. And that's why Sagittarius is never afraid of the ugly truths, because it is what it is, ultimately. It may not feel good, but it is what it is. But their main challenge is working on figuring out what needs to be shared and what needs to be quiet. You can book your astrology reading at intuitivehealing.com. You can also watch videos at Intuitive Healing here on YouTube for Astrology 101 content. Listen to the Aquarius podcast on Spotify, as well as here on YouTube for your horoscope. If you're interested in astrology and love connections, you can visit at Styled Under Libra. And of course, for health and wellness and holistic healing, visit at Styled Under Virgo for all of your astrology content. Thanks so much for watching.